Hello everybody, it's a Vertical Sandwich. Welcome back to Book Reviews. So, this week it is Book 8 of the Discworld series. This is where the dragons went. They lie, not dead, not asleep, but dormant. And although the space they occupy isn't like normal space, nevertheless they are packed in tightly. They could put you in mind of a can of sardines if you thought sardines were huge and scaly, and presumably somewhere there's a key. Alright, so this is the first City Watch book. And the City Watch books, well, first off, the television show The Watch, which just ran, I think, 6 episodes, is obviously based on this storyline. And the Watch cast of characters are going to be a lot of fun. I don't necessarily know that, surprisingly, this is the surprising thing I'm finding about Discworld. The plot line set I like the least are the Rincewind ones. And that's what started the series, right? The first 2 books are Rincewind books. Now that being said, the Rincewind books are still amazing. But they're not quite as amazing that they can compete with the other stuff, which is like super amazing. City Watch might actually be my second one. Here's how it goes with me. Witches, Death, City Watch, Rincewind. Now that we've said that, if you're watching The Watch, it's based a lot. The main crux of that is this book. Although The Watch does actually take characters that are introduced in the next 2 City Watch books and already put them in there, but it deals mainly with this, which the idea is that dragons exist on the Discworld. However, grand dragons, like giant dragons, the dragons you think of in fantasy, have long since vanished. There are things like swamp dragons and stuff. They're little things. They shoot fire and things. But they're tiny. You know, they're handsome. You can pick them up. You can carry them around. And there actually is there are people who keep them as pets. Like, that is a thing. And then one day, a grand dragon reappears in the biggest city on the Discworld and starts assassinating people, just burning them to a crisp. Now, that being said, the City Watch exists as a thing. They used to be the police force. But let me tell you, if we haven't talked about this with Ankh-Morpork, we need to. It's huge. It's one of the most important facts about the city. So, in Ankh-Morpork, all crime is legal and licensed. So, there's a guild of assassins, there's a guild of thieves, there's a guild of beggars, there's a guild of everything. And so, if you want somebody murdered and you're willing to pay the price, you can hire an assassin, they will murder the person, and that is legal, as long as you paid the price and the assassins follow the rules. However, if you're caught killing somebody and you're not in the Assassin's Guild, you are given over to the Assassin's Guild, and they can do what they want with you. Which they don't like people hoarding in on their business, undercutting their prices, so they take care of it. Same thing with the Thieves Guild. If you're caught stealing and you're not in the Thieves Guild, they will turn you over to the Thieves Guild. And so the city's police force has become a thing that does not. There's like 4 guys in it. And none of them, I mean, it used to be a big deal. It used to be the city guard. They were prestigious, like, amazing, and like now, not so much. They're kind of this corrupt group of drunks that like walk the city streets and just turn a blind eye. That's kind of what they do. So, but that fact about the guilds of criminals in Ankh-Morpork is huge. It's enormous in the Discworld novels. First off, because it's funny, and second, it's because, like, it's a type of law and order that works. Like, you can pay a fee every week and keep from getting mugged. Because the Thieves Guild just wants their money. Like, or you can set up a time to be robbed. It's just ridiculous, but it's the way the Discworld works, and there's something about that that's super funny, right? There's something fun, which is why the character in the last novel was training in the Assassin's Guild. You have to, if you want to murder people for a living, you go to the Assassin's Guild. They put you through assassin school. Yeah, so that's the thing you need to know about the Discworld. It's a huge deal from here on out. It was kind of a huge deal before, but it's an enormous deal from here on out. I mean, like, the regulation and licensing of crime in Ankh-Morpork is a main part of plot lines in almost every Discworld book after this. That's just a thing. It's just a thing, right? So, let's read. Now a black-robed figure scurried through the midnight streets, ducking from doorway to doorway, and reached a grim and forbidding portal. No mere doorway got that grim without effort, one felt. It looked as though the architect had been called in and given specific instructions. We want something eldritch in dark oak, he'd been told. So put an unpleasant gargoyle thing over the archway, give it a slam like the footfall of a giant, and make it clear to everyone, in fact, that this isn't the kind of door that goes ding-dong when you press the bell. The figure rapped a complex code on the dark woodwork. A tiny barred hatch opened and one suspicious eye peered out. The significant owl hoots in the night, said the visitor, trying to wring the rainwater out of its robe. Yet many grey lords go sadly to the masterless men, intoned a voice on the other side of the grill. Hooray! Hooray for the spinster sister's daughter, countered the dripping man. To the X-man, all supplicants are the same height. Yea, verily, the rose is within the thorn. The good mother makes bean soup for the errant boy, said the voice behind the door. There was a pause, broken only by the sound of the rain. Then the visitor said, What? The good mother makes soup for the errant boy. There was another longer pause. Then the damp figure said, Are you sure the ill-built tower doesn't tremble mightily at a butterfly's passage? Nope. Bean soup it is. Sorry. The rain hissed down relentlessly in the embarrassed silence. What about the caged whale? Said the soaked visitor, trying to squeeze into what little shelter the dread portal offered. What about it? It should know nothing of the mighty deeps if you know. Oh, the caged whale. You want the elucidated brethren of the ebon night, 3 doors down. Who are you then? We're the illuminated and ancient brethren of E. I thought you meant over in Treacle Street, said the damp man after a while. Yeah, well, you know how it is. The Fretwork Club have the room Tuesdays. There's a bit of a mix-up. Oh, well, thanks anyway. My pleasure. The little door slammed shut. The rubbed figure glared at it for a moment, and then splashed further down the street. There was indeed another portal there. The builder hadn't bothered to change the design much. He knocked. The little barrel hatch shot back. Yes? Look, the significant owl hoots in the night, all right? Yet many grey lords go sadly to the masterless men. Hooray, hooray for the spinster sister's daughter, okay? To the axemen, all supplicants are the same height. Yet verily the rose is within the thorn. It's pissing down here. You do know that, don't you? Yes, said the voice in the tones of one who indeed does know it, and is not the one standing in it. The visitor sighed. The caged whale knows nothing of the mighty deeps, he said, if it makes you any happier. The ill-built tower trembles mightily at a butterfly's passage. The supplicant grabbed the bars of the window, pulled himself up to it, and hissed, Now let us in! I'm soaked! There was another damp pause. These deeps, did you say mighty or nightly? Mighty. I said mighty deeps on account of being, you know, deep. It's me, Brother Fingers. Sounded like nightly to me, said the invisible doorkeeper cautiously. Look, do you want the bloody book or not? I don't have to do this. I could be home in bed. You sure it was mighty? Listen, I know how deep the bloody deeps are, all right, said Brother Fingers urgently. I knew how mighty they were when you were a perishing neophyte. Now will you open this door? Well, all right. There was the sound of bolts sliding back. Then the voice said, "Would you mind giving it a push? The door of knowledge through which the untutored may not pass sticks sometimes, or sticks something wicked in the damp." Brother Fingers put his shoulder to it, forced his way through, gave Brother Doorkeeper a dirty look, and hurried within. The others were waiting for him in the inner sanctum, standing around with the sheepish air of people not normally accustomed to wearing sinister hooded black robes. The Supreme Grand Master nodded at him. "Brother Fingers, isn't it?" "Yes, Supreme Grand Master. Do you have which you were sent to get?" Brother Finger pulled a package from under his robe. "Just where I said it would be," he said. "No problem." "Well done, Brother Fingers." "Thank you, Supreme Grand Master." Alright, so that ridiculousness is par for the course for this book. And so the watch plot lines are going to be important. Like this, we're going to stick with a cycle of continuing plot lines for Rincewind Witches, Death, City Watch, with the exception of I think one book, all the way up until I think book 25 in this series. I may be wrong about that. But yeah, aside from moving pictures, we're going to go through books that are all understandable and continuing plot lines. Like, so what happens at the end of the City Watch here is going to lead right into the next City Watch book, which will continue through that. And the City Watch books end up having a slightly different flavor than other books. So the Witch books and the Death books and the Rincewind books are all going to feel very kind of magic and fantasy oriented, whereas the City Watch books are absolutely and totally going to be poking fun of every kind of detective trope that exists in that kind of fiction. Like, there will of course be things like magic in them, but inherently what they're going to be about is detective novels. So I don't have a lot of familiarity with detective novels. I've only read Sherlock Holmes, actually. But yeah, they're going to just thinly veil the fact that, like, the place that they set up shop is called the Yard and stuff. I mean, it's just clearly going to be just making fun of police work and detective novels. Is it going to be good? Yeah, it's going to be fantastic. It's going to be fantastic. Like, there's something about the idea of having a police force in a town where you can't arrest criminals if they're licensed properly. That's hilarious, right? Like, so, like, solving, like, there are a bunch of murders that you never have to solve. It's not important because, like, people will take credit for it. Yeah, it becomes really, it ends up being an amazingly funny kind of set of plot lines. But what should be noted is that those books, they have their own distinct flavor. This very film noir detective-y kind of flavor to them. And I like it. I like the City Watch stuff. I do. But it just should be noted that one of the things that I love about the Discworld the most is the kind of humor and messing around with the philosophical concepts of time and space that the magic plot lines do a lot. Whereas you're not going to get that in the City Watch plot lines. What you're going to get is puns and jokes about criminals and detective work. They're great. They're really great. But again, they have if what you fell in love with of the Discworld is kind of the wizard stories and the witches stories, then maybe, this might be a turnoff for you. Like, I have a hard time believing that because they are funny. They are genuinely funny and filled with, great comic characters and things like that. However, like I said, they do tend to be darker and more settled, kind of more lampooning the real world in a very direct way than other Discworld novels tend to be. So guards. The start of the City Watch plotline, which we should be excited about, because more plot lines mean more cast of characters, mean different concepts, mean different kinds of jokes, and we like that. We like the fact that Terry Pratchett is all over the place because he does everything he does really well. So, the next book in the Discworld, wow, that was a set of sneezes. The next book in the Discworld series is Faust / Eric. It's actually titled Eric, but Faust. So, yeah, when we come back, that. Bye, everybody.